Hey viewers, my name's Cara. This is a video that I've been thinking about doing for a long time, and today I just felt like, let's go for it. I'm actually shaking. I'm nervous to do this. Today, we are going to be watching and doing a little director's commentary of Finding Wicca, a video that I made 16 years ago. This video was uploaded on July 2nd, 2009. It's only about 8.5 minutes long. I still have that hoodie that I'm wearing. I don't wear it anymore, but I still have it. I don't have those glasses anymore. I actually broke those. Anyway, here we go. This is actually the first time that I'm rewatching this in I don't know how long, but I did not watch it over before doing this. This is actually me reacting to it. I've only seen the first 5 seconds because I did a brief sound test just to make sure that the audio would come through. So here we go, and we're gonna pause and talk about it as we need. Yeah. Actually, before we get started, I could react already to the title. I don't identify specifically as Wiccan anymore. Wicca is absolutely part of my path and a big part of how I got to be where I am today. But I don't identify first and foremost as a Wiccan. I'm not an initiate of any Wiccan tradition, so that's already a big change. But again, this was 16 years ago. This is one of the earliest videos that is still public on this channel. Okay, let's go.
Hey viewers.
Oh, and yeah, the audio is bad, and it's bad quality.
Yes, I'm doing a video while taking a walk.
Okay, wait, sorry. We're gonna stop a lot. Okay, this was again, one of my first videos. Those of you who have been watching for a long time, you might remember that the walkie-talkie vlogs were a big thing for me back then. This might have been one of the first ones that I did, because why did I think it was novel to mention yeah, I'm recording while going for a walk, what of it? And then, okay, we've got an intro. I don't have intros like this anymore. I remember this photo. Okay, this is a close-up of my eyes. I don't know.
Alright,
I don't know where that sound is from. Probably some royalty-free something or other.
why am I pagan? More specifically, why am I Wiccan? Because I do identify as Wiccan. Well, I was raised Roman Catholic, and I was baptized as such, and my whole family is...
I also have this necklace that I'm wearing. It's my witch's knot. I still have that to this day. And this is the same pentacle that I wore in a lot of... Oh, spoilers. This is the same pentacle that I had back then. I have a lot of the same necklaces.
Christian, most of them are Roman Catholic. I just say that because my mom just now identifies as Christian. I'm gonna go this way so I'm not getting people's houses.
Yup, still courteous, still need to do that. That's a bad pause. My mom still identifies as a Christian. She now identifies as a Christian spiritualist.
In the background, because that's just not nice. Anyway, so I was raised Roman Catholic, and pretty much my whole childhood,
I wanted to switch my face cam over here, but I can't do it while the video is playing, apparently, so I had to pause to switch it.
Pretty much my whole childhood, I didn't want to go to Catholic school. They tried to put me in catechism, PSR, Bible classes, and...
I just realized I have braces here. Hold on, let me think. This is 2009, yeah, so this was early in my YouTube career. I turned 19 that year. We started the Pagan Perspective collab that year, but this was in July, so I'm 18 here. My voice sounds so different in this recording, at least. I know this is an old camera. I think I might know what camera this is. This is not my Flip Minnow HD because this is not in HD. This is a digital camera, a photo taking camera that I had that also took video. I'm pretty sure that's what this is.
That was just annoying because I started a year late because I really didn't want to go. So they put me in the class for the grade below me, and they would never bump me up. So that just got really annoying. And so I did that, but I never made my confirmation because I thought that You know, I knew I didn't like being Catholic, and I thought that if I made my confirmation, then everyone would say that I was stuck being that way, so I didn't make my confirmation. But
I might be about to mention this in this video, I don't know, but yeah, I remember feeling that way, that like, well, it'll confirm it, like that's what confirmation is. However, I do know some people who say that just being baptized is enough to kind of make you stuck in it, so to speak. So that logic wouldn't have worked for everybody past me.
Basically, the main problem that I had with my Catholic experience was that, first of all, I didn't like that it always kind of made me feel like they were telling me what to do. And, like, especially with confession, like, people were always telling me, say a prayer, speak to God in prayer. It's like, there's a song about that. And so I was like, okay, cool, you know. And my grandfather died when I was little, so I would talk to him in prayer too, because I just figured, like, that's how you talk to people in heaven.
Yep, I still do. I still talk to my grandfather, and hey, while we're paused, let's go ahead and move over to this side, because I switched sides with the camera again. Still talk to my grandfather, and now my grandmother, his wife, has also passed on, and I speak to her way more. I was much closer to her because I grew up with her. But yeah, Grams passed away in 2018, almost a decade after this video. So this version of me has still had 10 more years with Grams to come. What earring am I wearing there, I wonder? It's really hard to tell with this quality.
And then it came around to confession time, and for PSR, we were required to do a confession before we could pass a certain, like, level in it. And,
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just generally how confirmation works. Like, you have to make your first confession happens before our first communion. Let me take that back for a second. What am I talking about?
PSR, we were required to do a confession before we could pass a certain, like, level in it. And,
oh yeah, so I think I'm talking about communion.
So I thought confession is dumb. Because here they are telling me that you can talk to God whenever you want, you just pray, and now they're telling me, but if I want to tell God what I've done wrong, and if I want to apologize to God, I have to go to the priest, and I have to tell him what I've done wrong, and then he'll tell God for me.
Yeah, so this is quite funny. That is how I was brought up, that like I heard both sides. Now I've heard from a lot more people who were like even more into Catholicism than I was, and also like even more clearly Protestant than I was ever raised with, that those are actually like pretty different and conflicting viewpoints in Christian theology. So the fact that I happened to grow up with people telling me both were true about like what my family believed, I think that's a bit different than for most people. Because like, yeah, the you can pray directly to God thing was kind of an answer that a lot of Protestants had to what they also didn't like about Catholicism. But so if that seems like weird or contradictory, yes. And all of that was being taught to me as a kid, which is probably also why it was very confusing. I'm actually surprised that so much of this is about my upbringing and not specifically about Wicca yet. Like, we're almost 3 minutes in and I'm not talking about Wicca yet, but you know me, I can spin a yarn, so we'll get there.
And then I have to say 10 Hail Marys and 3 Our Fathers, and then I'm forgiven? No, I'm sorry. That has always been dumb to me. I wanted to go to my little special space, wherever that was, in my room, whatever. I just wanted to go there.
I am also surprised that I'm saying dumb a lot. I don't like to use words like that anymore. And I know there are some other older videos of mine that over time people have pointed out, like, oh, you said this thing in a video 16 years ago that I'm pretty sure you're not okay with saying now. And I'm like, you're right, I'm not okay with saying that now. And as a teenager, apparently I said that more than I remember. Having things on record is interesting. I tend to reserve the adjectives that I use these days. I try to pick some different ones. So that's just surprising to me. But again, I was 18.
and say, hey, God, you know what? I was mean to my little brother today, and I'm really sorry because I know you want me to love everyone, and I apologize. Please forgive me, I'll do my best. Like, that's what I wanted to do, and they're telling me, no, you gotta go to a priest and do it. So I thought that was dumb. So I knew that Catholicism, based on mostly that and other things, just was not for me.
Am I gonna talk about the goddess part? I wonder, because, like, when people ask me now what drew me to paganism and Wicca, one of the first things that I say is the goddess aspect, and that I grew up with no feminine divine. I wonder if that's coming later in this video.
So, one of my cousins, she currently lives, like, across the country from me.
Yeah.
But she used to be around here. She, told me one day that she was Wiccan. And I didn't really know what that was, and I didn't know where that came from. And so I asked her, you know, like, what's it about? And she started telling me what she believes. Like, she believes in, she believes in, you know, a male and female god and goddess. And she believes in the balance of all things and nature and the cycle of everything. And, you know, she told me a little bit about, like, how she practices it and what they celebrate and what their rules are. Like, she told me about the read and, you know, just basic stuff like that. And I was like, wow, you know what? That sounds like what I believe. So I did some research on it. And so when I started doing research on Wicca, it was not, for me, it wasn't about my cousin's Wiccan, it sounds cool, I want to be Wiccan, I'm going to go read up on what I need to do to be that. That's not me, obviously. If that was me, I would have just said, okay, let me...
So, since this is director's commentary, I'm going to pause, because we haven't paused in a little bit, to tell you that this little beach behind me coming up, I'm walking at a lake by somewhere that I used to live near enough to walk to. So I used to walk down here a lot. But that little beach, I have actually done multiple rituals there, multiple spells there. I have a photo that I still use in some places that is me, like, standing in a lake at dawn and the sun's coming up and I'm just in silhouette in the water. My mom took that of me right there, basically right here in the water that you're seeing behind me right now. There's a few really sacred spots around this for me. There's a willow tree there that I used to go to and connect with a lot and leave offerings and stuff like that, and this little beach. It's very, very small. But I used to, as an insomniac, still a chronic insomniac, that has not changed in 16 years. I used to be up really late, especially in the summer. This was in July, so this would have been not during the school season for me. And I would stay up really late, and sometimes I would go for a walk at dawn. And so I did a lot of sunrise magic at this little lake beach, having not slept, and then I would go back home and sleep after that. But this looks like I'm recording it in the afternoon.
It wasn't about my cousin's Wiccan, it sounds cool, I want to be Wiccan, I'm going to go read up on what I need to do to be that. That's not me, obviously. If that was me, I would have just said, okay, let me read a little bit more about Catholicism, let me listen to what I'm supposed to believe, and I'll believe it. Okay, that was my problem with the Catholic Church, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think that's my problem with, like, not just the Catholic Church, but, like, a lot of traditions, probably even some that are not just considered church, like, more just the approach, right? Just the approach that it's like, here's what you're supposed to believe, so learn it and then believe it. Like, that approach is just what doesn't work for me, and I think what doesn't work for a lot of people, and is kind of the cue to start looking for something else. But that's not how those traditions are for everybody. Like, not everybody is having that experience of feeling like they're being told they have to believe something. Some people sincerely believe those things, and that's awesome. For me, it just was not what I sincerely believed, and so I had to, like, try to believe the thing I was supposed to believe, right? I think it's funny now, though, because when I said that even earlier in the video, like, I felt like they were telling me what to do or telling me what to believe. people have said that about various traditions of witchcraft too. Like, that's just, and I don't agree with them necessarily, but like, people have said that about things that are closer to my belief system. And so I think that for people who sincerely hold these beliefs, hearing me say that probably sounds as ridiculous to them as hearing other people say that witchcraft tells you what to do or like tells you what you have to believe is to me. I think it's all about the approach.
I'm not going to do that with Wicca just because I think it's cool. So what I did was I went and I researched and I looked for what sounds like what I already believe. Because I knew that somewhere deep inside me, I already had it. I already had my belief. I had just been born into a family that practiced a different one, and that wasn't who I was.
Yeah. Go me. I still feel that way. I still believe that way. And I wish for everyone to just look within and know what you vibe with and seek that. And I wish that you find it, because where my path has taken me is very different now. And I might say more about that at the end when we're done watching through this. But like, that's how I think it should be. And I hesitate even to say that because I don't think that I have the right or the authority to tell anybody how their religious and spiritual experience needs to be. But like, my wish is that it feels that way for people, that like you can believe what you believe and find that. And what continues to be like itchy for me, like what continues to feel uncomfortable for me, is when I imagine that there are people out there who are like I was then, and I know many of you, many people out there have had this experience where like you feel out of place with it, you feel like you're doing it wrong or you're believing the wrong thing or whatever. You feel like you're doing belief wrong because of what you're being told you have to believe, but it just feels off. But then some people never find the thing that does resonate with what actually feels like authentic belief to them. And that is what still like pulls at my heart today. I just wish for everybody to find what their heart authentically believes. And sometimes that's harder to find because certain traditions are not as widely taught. That's kind of a cute pause. That's kind of a cute still frame, actually. I have a feeling I'm about to switch the camera to the other side.
So, anyways.
I know a sore shoulder when I see it.
So, I did my research, and I found out that Wicca is what mostly already followed what I believe. So that's how I found out that's a match. And I read up a little bit more on it just to see, like, what do different kinds of Wiccans believe, you know, what do the Gardnerians believe, what do the Alexandrians believe, what's eclectic Wicca. I'm eclectic, by the way. I don't know. I'm indecisive. I can't.
Yes. Okay. I have a whole other video about this. Oh my gosh, that might be from like 6 years ago now. No, it might be more like 8 years ago now. I just counted. Anyway, from quite a while ago now, I have a video on solitary and eclectic as terms and how those terms have changed in how the wider community uses them from like 16 years ago when I was recording that video, this video that we're watching, to 6 or 8 years ago or whenever I was making that new video. Solitary eclectic Wicca was the terminology that made sense, that a lot of people were using, and that fit me best at the time. And over the decades since then, people started using those terms very differently. And I no longer identify as Wiccan, and I no longer identify with the term eclectic because of some of the things that it sort of came to mean in the wider community. But yeah, at the time, that is how my sort of path was described. I was a witch, S-E-W, solitary eclectic Wiccan.
Decide, but actually, for me, it's more like I'm eclectic because, oh, this is really pretty. There we go. For me, it's more that I'm an eclectic Wiccan because I like to accept a lot of things, and I like to mix and match, and I don't like to define it as one thing. So
I still think that's true, but I would just describe it more as being queer and being, like, non-binary about everything. I am still pretty loose on, like, I don't have to define it, but I still think definitions are helpful to communicate with other people about kind of what we're doing. So, like, I now identify as just a pagan witch, or to be specific about the tradition that I'm involved with, I'm a reclaiming witch, the Reclaiming Tradition of Witchcraft. I am sometimes solitary. I do a lot of group and community practice, however, now, so that's different. The way that I see all of that is just very different now than, you know, when I was 18 making this video. But yeah, like, definitely still believe that things are not just one thing, and I just communicate about that differently now. Instead of calling that eclectic, I call that, like, caring about the full spectrum and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's how I came to be Wiccan. And
more or less.
I really like it. You know, it fits everything. But, you know, there are pieces of Wicca that I don't agree with, too.
Yeah,
there are
sure.
different branches of Wicca that do things certain ways.
Sure.
That I don't agree with, like, you know, like the branches that I mentioned that are, like, named after people, Gardnerian, Alexandrian, what have you. Those are too structured for me, too. It was, like, it's too much like my childhood, like, with the Catholic Church, and I didn't like it. So,
Also, I was 18 here. Most Wiccan traditions, like covens, that I was aware of at the time, first of all, not very many in my area, but any that I was aware of, like, online, from what I was learning, none of them would have accepted me before I was 18 anyway. So, like, at the time of this video, I've only been, like, eligible to join a coven to begin actually training and learning about it from the inside for less than a year. So, yes, my impressions at this point were very entirely colored by what I learned about it from people online who said they were in lineaged initiatory covens. I know a lot more people who are actually in lineaged initiatory covens now. I feel very differently about it. I still don't agree with everything that every other group tends to believe, but that's always going to be the case. That's the case even in the tradition that I identify with the community of now. So I definitely understood the expectations of what it meant to be in a tradition, in a coven, etc., differently back then. And so it definitely did feel like something that I wouldn't be interested in. And I am so young here that I wouldn't have really had the opportunity to get that type of formal training from any sort of reputable coven very much at all before this point. So even if I had known any, at best I could be like 9 months into that training at the time of this video, but that's not what I did. So yeah, I hear you past me. Things are a little different now.
So, there are still things that I don't like about it, but I don't just read everything on Wicca and say, this is Wicca and I am Wiccan, therefore I have to believe this.
Right.
That's
and
not how it works.
Neither does anyone else.
I just go for, hey, so right at the end of that last segment, I went to turn the camera off and I realized that it had turned itself off because I ran out of battery. So you didn't miss much though. There was like 0.2 seconds and pretty much I can't hear it on my camera, but when I get to the computer, I will find out what you missed.
Yeah, it's definitely that camera because I couldn't hear audio playback on it. Well, there might have been 2 cameras that it could have been. Anyway.
But it was probably just me saying that I was going to go because there were some more people staring at me funny. So, anyway, yeah. So that was my story of, you know, who I used to be religious-wise and how I got to where I am. And I hope that helps you sort of understand future videos. So be on the lookout for the next one, which is going to be me talking about Wiccans and circles and why circles are great. And yeah. Sorry, there's someone
Credits
back there giving me a dirty look because I was talking really loudly to my camera.
Sound effects.
So, and I happen to know that family and they're Christians, so awesome. Do you see this? Do you see that? That is a Coca-Cola can stuck way up.
This is an iconic clip. I forgot this is in this video. I knew it was in a walkie-talkie vlog, but I forgot it was this. Oh my gosh.
In a bush. on the side of my road. See this, people? This shit pisses pagans off. Stop it.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Oh, that's funny. So I don't think I'm gonna go back through that. We're not gonna go back through it again. Okay, that was fun. That shit still pisses me off. I don't think it's just because I'm pagan, though, because I think there's a lot of pagans who don't care about stuff like that. But I definitely at the time, and I mean, still to this day, I still feel like stereotypically most pagans are environmentalists and we care about the environment, and so we care about litter. But definitely not everybody who identifies themselves as a pagan cares about those things. And that would have blown my mind at that time. It still kind of blows my mind, but not in the same way now. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm just aware that it is a thing. So I turned that 8.5-minute video into a 30 or so minute commentary. Do y'all want me to do a finding reclaiming now? Like, I've talked about it here and there, but I don't know if I've just like sat down and gave people what I now refer to as my witchcraft origin story, which would kind of be this. I think I tell it differently now, though. And then my reclaiming origin story. And when I meet new people in my tradition, I always like to ask them, what's your reclaiming origin story and what's your witchcraft or paganism origin story if they are different? Because a lot of people that I've met in reclaiming is the first tradition they found. When they were seeking, they found reclaiming, they were like, this is great, I love it here, and that's kind of it. As opposed to my experience, which was a lot of seeking and learning different things, being on the internet, learning from people on YouTube, in blogs and forums, learning a little bit about as many different pagan paths as I could before I found the thing that fit me, which at the time is what I called solitary eclectic Wicca, basically like self-taught, non-initiatory Wicca, or witchcraft, which is what it is. And then I found reclaiming much later, and now I identify with that as my tradition. That is the only tradition that I currently identify with. Some people do operate in multiple traditions. But yeah, do y'all want to hear the origin story update? Let me know. The lighting situation has been wildly varied during this recording. I've been recording for about 36 minutes. Oh look, and here it goes again. We're changing the lighting. I didn't want to record all of this. I cropped the screen a little bit so we can look at a few other things. So this video was uploaded July 2nd, 2009. It currently has 14,118 views as of the time of this recording. I should just add the new video descriptions because a lot of you are probably going to go back and watch this video now. Or maybe not, because you just watched it. But anyway, okay, I updated the description. When this video is posted, I'll link it in here. And I also put in the updated description from 2025, which has Patreon and Ko-fi. And my second channel for gaming and other things. As it says, gaming and other things. Anyway, so yeah, that's where that video stands right now. And my channel, if you saw, still says 20,000 subscribers, which is a huge number, but it's been kind of stuck at that number for a long time. And granted, I've had a weird upload schedule. Things are unpredictable here. These days, I mostly upload once a month, sometimes more, and sometimes I end up taking a break for a few months unexpectedly. Life happens. But yeah, back then I was uploading videos multiple times a week, every week, because it was summer and I was out of school and it was between high school and college. And then while I was in college, I was doing Pagan Perspective along with everything else. And I had a very specific schedule, so I knew when I had to do things at different times. And now that's not my life. So I get that it's a little unclear when you might see something from me here. But if you are not subscribed, and analytics tell me most of you who watch my videos regularly are not subscribed, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I would love to see a number that more closely reflects who has found my channel over the years. Like the video as well if you enjoyed it, it actually does help. I catch myself following channels for a really long time because it'll just show up in my home feed on my app. And I'll be like watching a channel regularly for 3 years before I realize that I never actually hit subscribe. Because the algorithm is so good at giving you things when they come up you don't need to. but it does help the creator. So please go ahead and click subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, tell me if you'd like to see another sort of updated video about how I then found Reclaiming, like that story. Again, I know I've told it before, but I don't think I have like a specific video to point to about it. And let me know if you like this director's commentary, looking back over an old video type of thing, because I've been wanting to do this type of thing for a while, and this is the first one. I mean, it had to be this one, right? This had to be the first one. So I might do that with a couple other older, really iconic videos, although I'm not sure if any are quite as iconic as this one. So thank you very much for watching and or listening. I will see you next time, and until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.